This really I would leave in the hands of your advisor. The meeting with the Inland Revenue is not something that the Revenue can insist upon, although the language in their correspondence and what they say to you might suggest you have got to go or there has to be a meeting. Neither of those is true. I personally tend to go on a case by case basis, have a look at the circumstances. I'll even look at the personalities of the revenue personnel that I'm dealing with to see if there will be any benefit in putting my client in front of the revenue, because it can be a very stressful experience and it can also hinder me helping my client if I've got the client there. In the cases that I've seen, the revenue will probably apply pressure to meet with you under a variety of guises. It will help you, you should do, you need to. They can't do anything directly. All that they can do really at the end of the day, if you don't attend the interview, is increase the penalties charged on any additional tax that turns out to be due, because they will say you haven't cooperated, or they will try to say you haven't cooperated. I believe that if you want to record the interview, physically record it, you're going to have to ask the Revenue's permission. I would always advise anyone going to a meeting with the Revenue probably to take someone else to take notes, because generally at the Revenue meeting they will have someone there to take notes. And if you want to rely on something that was said in the meeting, you need to be able to evidence that you've got contemporaneous material, so notes you took at the time of the meeting, to be able to rely on it. I also think it gives quite a good impression to the Revenue if you do have someone taking notes, because it tends to mean that you've thought it through, you're prepared, and you do want to give as good an impression as you can to them. The biggest problem I have dealing with the Revenue is that one day I will have someone beautifully reasonable, commercially aware, very sensible, pragmatic, who makes my job a lot easier. The next day, on exactly the same issue, I can get somebody who is completely opposite. So the Revenue does have very reasonable, helpful staff working for them, but equally they have people who are not that reasonable or helpful, and you just don't know which one you're going to get, and that's the biggest problem I have dealing with inquiries. Absolutely not. The Revenue will have done their homework before they meet you. So they might not know the exact detail of what you're talking about, but quite often sitting back and not saying anything is not a sign of stupidity. It's a sign that you are expected to talk some more. Trying to be helpful, you will, and that's when they get the real information that they want.